Hello, everyone, and welcome to Flickering Myth Movie Chats. We are here today to discuss a lot of movies because, wow, did I not realize there's a lot of Batman movies? Yes, today we are ranking the Batman movies, a loose ranking. These are so hard to do. Like, I could love a movie today and then tomorrow be like, you know what? Actually, no, Aaron Eckhart was the worst part of The Dark Knight. Things like that. Who knows?
Also, the three of us would never agree. We would never come to some consensus
Yeah,
on
we don't have
Batman
a
movies.
definitive ranking of Batman movies because you guys will hate my Batman and Robin placements. So
Well, I know I will. I know I will.
oh, it's a bad movie, but again, George Clooney is my least favorite Batman. I will put that out there.
Yes, yes.
Dry
Bottom of the
line
barrel.
readings, rehearsal line readings of that Joel Schumacher script. Oh,
It's an
all
Akiva
right.
Goldsman script.
That is true. That is very Akiva Goldsman.
Academy Award winning Akiva Goldsman.
So yeah, we are talking about the Batman films. This is a huge thing. We have a massive Batman movie coming up that I actually see tomorrow. Probably when this comes out, I will have seen the 3 hour Batman film. Joy. Yeah, no, I'm really excited for that. And it's Batman season. Somehow this character, kind of like we just dealt with Spider-Man a couple months ago, this is a character that just has a grip on pop culture for years. I mean, going back to 66 with the Adam West film, it is wild to think. What is your guys' quick little Batman backstories? Where did you guys first see a film, or when did you first get into the character? If you don't like him, it's fine.
My first two experiences with Batman are polar opposites because it was the Batman 66 show, which as a kid I hated. I thought that was death. I thought that was terrible. I feel I enjoy it more now. I enjoy it for what it is now. It's a good fun time. But as a kid, I was like, this is awful. But that was like coming on TV Land at like the same time that Batman the Animated Series was airing, and I was like, well, this is great. Whoa, why is this one really bad and this one's great? So like, I really could have just ended up not being a Batman fan between those, and then Batman Forever came out, and I think that cinched it for me.
Those
As a
Burger
Batman fan.
King glass cups that I had from that or whatever,
That
McDonald's,
was
man.
McDonald's, sir.
McDonald's, yes.
Yeah,
I loved those things. Yeah,
so good.
that
I
was
found the Riddler one at my mom's house a few weeks ago.
it's interesting, but that goes down to the merchandising. Like, it's crazy what Batman can do. I mean, you were wearing, Gerald, a knockoff Batman thing, which is reference to It's Always Sunny, because again, the power of him. So what was your Batman origin story? Hopefully not Martha and Pearls.
Oh God, no! I've lived with Batman my entire life. I watched the first movie in theaters like '89 when I was a small child. I'm older than y'all, but aside from that, I watched the animated series. I was unlike Alan. I was big into the old TV show. Like, it came on late at night, and it felt like something I shouldn't even be watching because of that at the time. But I still loved it because it was so cheesy. It's ridiculous, but
Yeah.
it felt right. Honestly, I watched every Batman movie in theaters until The Dark Knight, or not Dark Knight, until Batman Begins, because by that point I was just kind of burned out,
Yeah.
and it was an odd point to stop whenever you look at in retrospect, but at the time it made sense.
At the time, the last one was Batman and Robin.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, no, that's the interesting thing. We'll talk about the time break in between as well. So yeah, I kind of have a similar thing to Alan, where I was a Batman the Animated Series fan. I really got into DC as a whole once that Justice League series came out. It changed my life. Like, Justice League Unlimited, oh my goodness, it like introduced me to the world of DC, and I loved it. I will be forever thankful for that. But I was a big Tim Burton fan. The gothcore EJ as a youngster who loved Beetlejuice was like, well, these are the same tone. That's when I started learning tone. Was, oh wow, Beetlejuice and Batman are and Pee Wee Herman's Big Adventure are all in the same world. How? And that's, that we'll jump off from Tim Burton. Where do you guys feel the Tim Burton films stand in the legacy of them? I know some people find Michael Keaton to be a bit overrated, not enough to make him not come back for a new one, which mind blowing that he is coming back.
I think Keaton is overrated, but that doesn't mean he is in any way, shape, or form bad.
Yeah.
I enjoy Keaton's performance. I like Keaton much more as an older man than as a younger man. I think he has more gravity to him as an older actor than he did back then. So I'm actually way more excited for him to be coming back as Batman as compared to my love for him as his original Batman work. But yeah, I like the Burton movies.
Yeah.
That's maybe damning with faint praise, but they weren't as core to my childhood as they were to a lot of people's.
Yeah.
And I, they're weird. They're weird in some good ways, and in some ways that just don't work for me as much anymore.
Yeah, no, they definitely have an aesthetic. I mean, I grew up with my mom being a big Prince fan, so the soundtrack from the '89 film, like,
You love the soundtrack from the '89 film.
I mean, it's
maybe my favorite thing about that movie.
But it's
if
just
I'm being completely honest.
And that's, I think, again, I am a little bit more. I was born in the darkness of the Tim Burton films. I had never seen a happy Batman film until those damn Schumacher ones. Yeah, I know. I liked these films a lot. And Gerald, I have a question for you. Do you remember the controversy between Batman to Batman Begins with the too dark and then going to Batman Forever? Do you remember that kind of conversation that was Tim Burton movies were too dark, especially Batman Returns, which is a gothy, campy movie?
Not really, to be honest with you, because again, I was still pretty young at that time, so it wasn't like I was watching the trades or anything, and we didn't have the internet back then, unfortunately. So I was unaware of the controversy, but you could feel that when you watched it. So, like, I liked '89, and when I was younger, I liked Batman Returns, and then as I got more into Batman as a whole, I really disliked Batman Returns. And then when I got old enough to realize who cares about the source material, I really like Batman Returns.
Yeah. I could see that, and I know Alan is a bit more source material based, so.
Yeah, but as a weird Tim Burton movie, I like Returns a lot, but it is just like, I don't know. That's where you just kind of got to separate yourself out from it, because it's a good Tim Burton movie and it's a fine Batman movie. It's just a little like they didn't need to do what they did with the Penguin and being so creepy and weird, because that's not like, I don't know.
Yeah, they made him a horror character, which I kind of always thought he was, as opposed to Mob Man. He's such a mobster in so many ways. So that version was very odd. I mean, his gang was a penguins in that film. So, which I love. Especially with Dana DeVito in the sewer. I mean, but again, that's what I agree with you to a certain extent, but I'm like, Dana DeVito in the sewers is like an art piece, though.
Yeah, I agree with that. But to me, I just always look at that when I'm like, if you wanted to do a monster, there's monsters.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't have to do the Penguin as the monster. That feels like just like he was the next one on the list, like going from the most famous ones. Okay. I was like, who's next? Penguin. We got to check him off. Make him a monster, because I don't want to do something. I don't want to just do a crime movie now.
Okay, now I'm going to put up a graphic for this. Out of the very Smash Bros. S rank, A rank, B rank, all that, where would you guys rank these films? If you had to do a S to D rank.
Returns is an A and '89 is a B.
I put them both in B tier.
Okay.
They're enjoyable, and for the history, they're great. But whenever you compare them to what came after, it's like, maybe this is weird Batman.
Yeah, okay. I would put for my personal thing, one of my only S ranks, Batman Returns, goes in there. It truly changed my life. It truly everything. Catwoman, Michael Keaton, everything in that film. I think it is just aesthetically perfect. I love that it's a weird Christmas movie. Again, it just has little moments like that really do stand out. And I don't love the '89 film. It gets dry sometimes. I do think Jack Nicholson is great. He's my preferred type of Joker, who is somehow mob boss man, but also a creepy clown. Sometimes we don't really balance the Joker out enough.
Yeah.
Except for Jared Leto, who I feel is all mob boss, and then again, like Heath Ledger's all crazy man. It's like I need a mixture, and I think Jack Nicholson is that. I just don't like Michael Keaton in this film. I thought he gets better once he gets Michelle Pfeiffer to play off of.
That is true.
Yeah, fair.
All right, now we move to the Schumacher 2. These films, again, formative. Not that I like these as much, but these were huge growing up. I remember the action figures, the commercials. These were big deals when these films came out.
Pop-Tarts.
The Pop-Tarts. Alan, what was your feelings about the Batman Schumacher era?
I loved Forever as a kid. I've loved Forever as a teenager. I love Forever now. I love Forever. It's good. That seal tune is just untouchable, and so is that U2 song. What is it?
The U2 track is such a jam.
Is that what is that?
Hold me, thrill me, kiss me,
kiss me, kill me. That's
Forgot about that song.
Yeah, that's a rager.
Wow.
That's like the last stand of like
soundtracks.
Was like yeah, that too. This last stand of U2 was somebody that you might be able to look at their music and be like, that rock.
And Batman and Robin, you knew even then. Hot mess, Alan. You knew.
Oh yeah. I was so excited for that one, and oh Lord. I mean, I like, it's one of those things where like I have enough affection for it to where like I don't need to dogpile on it. And also, what can I say that everyone else hasn't already said a million times for the past 20 years?
Oh, way more than that, but
yeah, 25 years almost.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's 25 years this year. Damn. That hurts.
We all just got more gray hairs just in that one sentence. I'm like, oh no, I felt it.
But like, it's one of those ones where like I've tried several times as across the years to go back and be like, maybe I can enjoy this for being stupid and ridiculous, and then like to an extent, but overall it overstays its welcome. The heart that it tries to have is just so.
I want Alfred to die in that movie the whole time. Every time we do something to Alfred, I'm like, just let him die. Just Peg. His password is Peg. Get out. I've seen that movie a lot of times, though. That's the problem with me. I remember the password that Alicia Silverstone.
No, I remember all of that.
By the way, why is she not English in that film? So many questions about Alicia Silverstone in that movie. Love her.
I don't even get to that question when I'm asking questions about that movie. To be honest. But yeah,
and Gerald, how do you feel somewhere similar? I guess you seem to like Batman Forever as well.
So, and this is where I thought I might deviate from the group a little bit. Batman Forever is the best Batman film.
Okay.
Simple as that.
I don't know why you think that's a deviation from me, because I'm the one that's been yelling because you know me at least.
So as I hate to refer to the Schumacher era, because you have the best Batman film and the worst Batman film, both from him back to back. And oh man, I mean, as far as
it's the second worst,
maybe, but it's just, and the thing is, when you go back and look at Batman Forever, because we all probably watched a Batman movie in preparation for this conversation. That's the one I chose.
Oh, I don't need to. They're all just there. So
something I never caught until last night, because something that you can talk about with those four films before we move on into Nolan is Gotham was a character.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And I never realized until last night that it was the same character in the Schumacher films as it was in the Burton films, but they added neon lighting
and more shirtless dudes holding things up. There's a lot of shirtless statued men in the Schumacher ones.
All of the giant sculptures and stuff were backdrop in the Burton films, but those just felt like they were just made of paper mache. is where the Schumacher films kind of pulls it out and shows more scope to the city. But yeah, no, I agree with you. It is just, it's Burton's Gotham with a little bit more scope and a lot more neon lighting.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
but the
and
neon lighting really works.
that is a hope I have for this upcoming Batman film, where we're actually going to see personality and a soul to our Gotham. Like, we haven't had that in a while. I've seen it in the trailers. I mean, that's my biggest complaint about the Nolan films. I hate his Gotham. It is just Chicago. Like, it's not.
It almost wasn't. Like, in Begins, like, it's clearly a lot of, some of the sweeping stuff of Chicago. We'll get to it.
Yeah, but no, and that's why my biggest hope now is I'm looking at what they're doing with this new upcoming film, and I see Gotham actually have some neon lights. We see the nightclub era, we see the dirty streets, we see the funeral scene that we've seen in the trailers. I'm actually thinking, which I like Matt Reeves as a filmmaker, I think he could bring life into Gotham again, because as weird as the Schumacher movies were, that's the last time Gotham actually had a personality. Even the TV show Gotham tried and still struggled with that, which the show's not the worst thing ever. It's too long because it's a TV show.
Yeah,
24 episodes a season is the worst thing ever. But yeah, no, I really like that, and I'm glad you brought that out because I do like it. I will say Batman Forever was my kind of blind spot for a lot of years. I really wasn't a big Jim Carrey fan, so I just kind of X'd out that movie. I remember loving Tommy Lee Jones. Oh my god, and he is again in his zoot suits and everything, so great. Like, he is a camp. And then I've really appreciated Edward Nygma in that. I really appreciated Jim Carrey's. Val Kilmer was I'm okay on him as Batman. He's just sandwiched in between someone who's good and then someone who's very bad, so he feels great in comparison to a lot.
Kilmer being my favorite Batman is a lot of what leads to Forever being my favorite movie. Because he, like, people talk about Conroy all the time doing the where like Bruce Wayne is the mask and Batman is the real man, and you get that with Kilmer. You get that with Kilmer's performance. His Bruce Wayne, when he's around people, is a total put on, just complete bullshit. And whenever he's alone, he talks in the same voice that he talks as Batman. He has the same gravity as he does as Batman, and then puts on that kind of effeminate voice, like Playboy kind of stuff. Really plays that up in a very subtle way, not in the Christian Bale way where he goes, where he has the growl for the Batman and the I'm Patrick Bateman kind of thing for his Bruce Wayne. Kilmer's performance as Batman is like the most subtle one you can get, and it's good.
His delivery is so dry when like the most ridiculous stuff is happening around him, and that's one of my favorite things about him. Is that's how he reads in the comic books, is like this just ridiculous stuff keeps going on. He's like, we got to get you out of here. It's like, okay, all right. Like, just look at that scene in the vault with that guy in the freaking vault. It's like, oh, my glasses are melting in the ass. He's like, hold on. It's like, that's Batman right there.
Yeah. I definitely think that's what Clooney was trying to do with his, of like dry and like, and I'm like, oh my God, he was just in a different film than everyone else. I love Batman and Robin for I think Chris O'Donnell started a lot of my boy crushes. Oh my God, did Schwarzenegger have the most fun? We literally see him lose grasp on the human language through that film. By the end, he's just mumbling in Austrian. Like, it's just amazing. And then like Uma Thurman doing Mae West by way of John Waters. Like, it is everything. I just love those performances. I think they carry a film, and
I like Uma Thurman. Uma Thurman delivers in that. She knows what movie she's in. Nobody else does, but she does.
I'm a lover, not a fighter. That's why every Poison Ivy action figure comes complete with him.
Yeah. No, and you brought us something with Bruce Wayne again, trying to kind of hype up this new one. I'm really hoping with Pattinson, we get to see a different version of Bruce. Of this is the year 2 where I think we're going to see a movie with Gordon and Alfred being like, bro, you need to fake some stuff because you look like a psychopath. We don't really get to see that, of like someone being like, you're not, you need to fix this, which I think is growth. I think we get to see a character grow over time, because we're always, where you said, we're always at that point where he understands the duality because I even think we skip over that in Christian Bale's movies. We'll get to that now. I don't really remember where he had to like learn to not be a sociopath. Like, and that's kind of the little moments I want to, because we're at Batman Begins now.
You get you get that a little bit in Begins. It's referenced. It's not it's more, telling and not showing.
Yeah.
I mean, you obviously get the here, let me create this Playboy character, but you don't get like a growth into that. You get Alfred saying, you need to come up with something. You need to come up with a cover, basically, and then he does. It's not something that he has to learn. He's just like, yeah, that makes sense. Let me go have sex with people.
Which, God, again, I always look at him as I look at that show Dexter, where that's how his character should be. Is like, I'm only having sex with someone to look normal. I don't want to do this. That's my Batman fan fictions in my head, minus when he meets Catwoman and then it's like, nah, she gonna get it. I love a Bat and the Cat. It's my favorite pairing in comic books. I just think it works, and except for the wedding, I actually own that comic and I hate that so much.
Yeah,
that wedding,
it's Tom King, and he's one of the worst writers in comics.
It frustrates me so much. All right, so real quick before we move on, both of those movies are about. Oh wait, I'm gonna put a ranking for you guys for Batman Forever.
No,
that's S.
That's an S rank. Okay. Oh, triple S, and then the other one's like a D. Good. Okay.
Yeah, if there's a floor, that's where Robin is.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Schumacher, though. What a fun filmmaker. Truly one of the.
I love Joel Schumacher, and I really wish he had gotten to make a Batman kind of like he wanted to.
I don't blame him for that.
He would have done a really cool animated version or a real cool TV series. I would have loved to see Schumacher get to play in a different.
Yeah. Well, he wanted to do Year One to begin with. Like that was what kind of he wanted to tackle, because that would have been much more up Schumacher's alley.
Yeah.
But
like going after Lost Boys and stuff, that aesthetic. Yeah, I kind of wish that was there, but
people don't seem to remember that between Batman Forever and Batman and Robin, he did A Time to Kill.
Yeah,
Schumacher's good.
Yeah,
Schumacher was very good and turned out some great films. And I wish he would have been a little more in the auteur seat on a Batman movie, but. We got Forever. So
Batman and Robin is solely to blame on Warner Brothers.
Yeah,
that's
100%. I've never blamed Schumacher for that, and he's apologized for that, and I forgave him readily.
Yep. Yep. I know Clooney just recently rewatched it. He said and was like, "Wow, what a time of my life." We kind of forget though; those are early movies for him as well. First big. I mean, he only did From Dusk Till Dawn before that. So again,
and ER.
Yeah. So those were first big times.
Thing at that point.
Which again, going to Christian Bale, he had done American Psycho. He had done Newsies as a kid, I think. What was his big animated or his big musical film? But yeah, he really came into his own. We got to see him through those 3 Batman films. Christian Bale grow as an actor, and I actually really appreciate that out of those films. I have issues with all 3 of them, and mine is Batman Begins. Actually, the one I have the least complaints I would make. Maybe it's the Katie Holmes apologist in me, but
I'm kind of the same. Batman Begins is not my favorite but of the 3, but it is the one that I have the least, that I find the least to apologize for.
Yeah, it's just quick in and out. It needs to tell the story. I have issues with the Liam Neeson reveal. It's like, okay,
it's fine.
That's fine. I wish Cillian Murphy had more to do in that film. I think
Cillian Murphy had more to do in every film, I'll be honest.
But I appreciate something Nolan did, which they tried to do in the other films. I like that he was in all 3 movies. Something I really hope we have in this new Batman coming up. Like, I don't want Cobblepot to die or go to jail in this one. I want him to be a small role in each film, because that makes Gotham feel alive. I think Scarecrow is the only thing that makes these Batman movies feel like a continued connected thing, because sometimes they feel like they stop and start a little bit for me. I love Batman Begins. I think The Dark Knight is a great film. I just, the time I thought it was a bit overblown, hype wise. It was a hugely hyped film, and sometimes I get bored with the fairy drama that we have in that film. Some of the mob stuff gets a bit boring, but that's about it. Heath Ledger has a blast.
The climax of The Dark Knight, it took me years to accept that it's just not good. The climax of that movie is not good. The fairy stuff is boring. The see those bad guys coming up on the left? Like, that's bad. That's all bad. The sonar shit's bad.
I don't really love Ledger's last moment in the film either. I feel like it definitely felt like they were going to revisit him again, and it's not fair. So that's it's
that's
hard.
how I have to.
It's like a hit or miss with me, where I'm like, oh, as the final moment, because then we go do the stupid Harvey Dent stuff. That I'm like, the Joker is the end of this film for me. Then I'm like, oh yeah, we have more to do.
I like the end Harvey Dent stuff. Even if this is my biggest problem with The Dark Knight. It is still my favorite of these three movies. It's still top tier Batman for me. There is no heart to The Dark Knight. They try to give you a heart in Harvey Dent, but they never give you enough Harvey Dent for you to care. They're too busy trying to balance. They never decide if Bruce is the main character or if Harvey's the main character. And in the interim, having to give so much screen time to the Joker as well, they never quite give you a through line of anybody to really give a shit about in it. I mean,
those are three big
even
characters.
Balancing Gordon. Even balancing Gordon in it. And there's just no, you're not really ever on anybody's side, which is the problem. Like there's no heart beating through it. That doesn't make it an awful movie at all. But those are my criticisms of it. Bad climax. And there's no, like, the emotional strings that they want to pull just don't get pulled because you're not given enough character time.
Gerald, would you kind of feel the same way, or are you a little bit more like, I can accept some of the flaws?
Again, I look at it as the center film of a trilogy, and the problem is they didn't get to pay off the trilogy like they wanted to, or like it needed to be. So for it setting up, like, the ending stuff with Two-Face and everything, that had to happen so that we could have the, seeing Harvey Dent as a hero, whereas Batman's the villain and whatnot. And it sets up for Rises. It's just, it doesn't really pay off as well as you would hope.
Yeah, it does connect better than I thought it did with that, the through line. I did just say earlier that I didn't feel we had a connection. Those two things do try to connect, but again, it doesn't feel fully fulfilled by the end, or at least even by the beginning of Rises, where I was like, oh yeah, that's where we were leaving off with all that.
Well,
I wanted to see more
Rises' fault.
I wanted to see more of the hunted Batman, but we just didn't really get that.
He just gave up.
We went straight to old man Batman in that film, which it feels like he ages 15 years in between those movies, especially. Like, it's a weird the disconnect. And I'm a bit more nicer on Rises than you two. I've never really had major issues with it. I know you hate it, especially Alan.
Oh, I hate it. Gerald is much more positive on it.
Yeah, it's perfectly fine.
Yeah, I've always kind of felt that way. I think it's too long. And I don't like some of the daylight fight scenes. I know that was like a big deal when it happened, but really watching Christian Bale not be able to fight in that suit against Tom Hardy, who looks like he's actually down to MMA box a bitch, like.
Nolan not really. He's better at shooting action by that point than he was in Begins and in The Dark Knight, but he's still not great at it. So I used to critique full daylight, it doesn't work.
I used to critique his action scenes, and then I forget how much I love the truck sequence in The Dark Knight. He's good at action sequences that aren't two humans. That's like spectacle, because again, Tenet does so good when it's that like car flipping in reverse and all that. But when I'm like, oh yeah, John David Washington and has to speak to people. Okay.
Rises is a death by 1,000 cuts to me. It, for all that went into it, it just feels like they didn't care. Like, for some reason, Gotham is completely terraformed, or because it's no longer, we spent 2 movies being like, it's pretty much Chicago, and then we're like, just kidding, it's New York and some streets in Philadelphia or Pittsburgh. I think they shot in Pittsburgh, and it's like, well, that's off. But like, it tries to tie back so much to the other 2 films that like disregarding their geography is very weird. It's just so many different things. There's like, we did a podcast on it where I'm just like, I can't do it here. We would be here all day, me listing off like all the tiny little things and all the tiny little, just like we didn't care enough to check if the suspension bridge would fall all the way apart if you blew it apart in the middle. So like it's just unforgivable little things, like one after the other. And then
my complaints are far more broad. Like I just don't like Anne Hathaway as Catwoman. Like little things like that.
Fine. She had good moments. She had some of the better moments in the movie.
I guess she does have a great moment where she beats somebody's up and all the cops come and she has to pretend like she's crying and then just walks out all cool. One of the best moments of it. Oh, and when she kicks out his cane at the very beginning and then black flips out of a window, that's the Catwoman stuff. The rest of the movie, I didn't like her playing third tier to like the bad guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, okay. So where would you guys place these films on our ranking?
Begins as A.
Okay.
Begins as A easily. Dark Knight is still S for me, despite my problems with it. It's S tier for me. That thing chugs. Like, yeah, it's brought to a screeching halt with the climax, but it chugs, and it's just Ledger is still like he's not as impressive now years later because so many people have mimicked that and put that energy into things, so it doesn't feel as like fresh as it did then, but that was a hell of a choice. It's not my favorite Joker, but for that movie and for what they're doing with it, just it works. It works so well. And there's just an energy to the whole thing that like all of those flaws come from me that I can't overlook now, come from me watching that movie 100 times.
Yeah.
And if you just watch that thing and you're not looking for the flaws, you don't know every inch of it. Most of it just goes. It's so well paced.
And Gerald, similar for you?
A, S, B.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I didn't do Rises, which is D.
Okay.
Yeah, of course.
D tier.
Yeah, no. And then we only have a couple more minutes, but I think Batman v Superman, I actually really like Ben Affleck as a Bruce Wayne. His Batman has issues, but I actually think he played a really fun Bruce. He had the sarcasm I needed, but then he was still pain and tragic when he needed to be with Alfred in the Batcave. I thought he was a fun... I think Ben Affleck will get overlooked in the grand scheme of things with the Snyder attachment, but I thought he was a good Batman. It's not his films, though.
He was. But that's the thing, is that they weren't his films. Like, I like Batman v Superman, and I like Snyder's cut of Justice League, and I like his Batman in that universe, and it works. But they're just not his movies.
Yeah.
So it's hard to be like, we talked about this on chats, like, is that really like, it's not really his movies. So it's hard to like put them in the pantheon of these other ones. He didn't get his movie that turned into the Reeves movie. So
Ben Affleck with a good script would have been a great Batman.
Yeah.
But
his original idea where he wanted to do like a Fincher inspired film, I was so into what Ben Affleck could have done there with the universe. Joe Manganiello as... I was there. I was like, oh, this could be good. So last couple minutes, are you guys excited for the Batman coming up? How's your feelings?
They're very... I'm in my 30s now, so it's not quite what I remember being hyped for Batman movies for, because like it's been 10 years since the last Batman movie, the last Batman movie.
Yeah, which is kind of cool actually to have that little bit of a break.
Yeah, but I'm excited for it. I don't know if it's day one for me, but no, I'm excited. I like everything that's been presented.
Yeah,
so I'm interested.
What about you, Gerald?
I'm excited. To be honest, I feel like there's been enough of the marketing devoted towards the Catwoman love story that I'm afraid that's going to overshadow this dark, gritty detective drama that they're trying to sell me. So it feels very, I don't know, at odds with itself. But I'll watch it. I'll try to find 3+ hours of my day to devote to this film.
It's a long film.
But aside from that, cautiously optimistic.
Yeah, I am with DC. That's kind of how I always tell people to be. I have good hopes for it. There's a clip going around where Batman says, Gordon's like, ooh, is this guy moonlighting with the Penguin? And Batman says, or is he moonlighting as a cop? It's just such a small little Batman line that I'm like, Matt Reeves' script is going to slap. This script is going to be a good Batman script. Just little, I think he gets the character. I hope I hope it's fun, as dark and weird as it is. I hope it's fun. And like you said, Joe, with the romance, I hope it's a bit romantic, has some heart. That's missing from, they tried with Rachel, what's her name in the Dark Knight movies?
Rachel Dawes.
Rachel
They
Dawes, yeah, it never
tried.
worked.
Yeah.
It never
And you know,
worked.
the ones in the Clooney and all those, I loved the love interest, but they didn't add anything. So
Chase
Elle
Meridian was
McPherson.
important.
Chase
Yes.
Meridian was important.
I'll take her before Elle McPherson and Batman and Robin. So
Yeah.
Fair enough.
All right, guys.
I forgot that was Elle McPherson.
it is. I know. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me. And thank you all for watching our Batman ranking. I figured, we actually had a better ranking doing it in the tier system. So thank you guys so much for joining me for this. Make sure you guys comment down below, subscribe to Flickering Myth, and give us a thumbs up if you did enjoy. All right, we have some Batman stuff to talk about, and it's going to be fun.